Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Do you feel overwhelmed by all of the things that you have on your to-do list? Does that leave you sometimes scrambling to take care of those emergencies that you forget about, and it causes everything else to get put on the back burner so you can solve that emergency that you created for yourself in your schedule? Or maybe you mindlessly jump from A to B to C and it feels like it takes forever to get anything done. And maybe all of that makes you feel frustrated or guilt-ridden, maybe even short-tempered. I know I was in this place myself earlier this year. And in fact, I've shared before with you guys that I pushed myself into hypertension and then hey Cece, how are you? I pushed myself into hypertension earlier this year and went about putting a lot of different plans in place to make some changes to my life to help overcome my own overwhelm. And so what I'm going to be sharing with you today is one of the tools that I've used to help with managing the overwhelm. It's called time blocking. And time blocking is a way of really kind of systemizing your schedule so that you can identify where you figure out, map out a plan for everything that you need to get done on a regular basis. All the better if you can kind of automate it and make those things like recurring meetings in your schedule. And then also identifies where there are opportunities to better utilize your time. And especially for moms, depending on where we're at in terms of, you could be an entrepreneur, you could be working part-time, you could be working full-time, or you could just be, stay-at-home mom has a lot to get done too, right? So it can really help with just systemizing our schedule so that we can figure out how to get everything done. And then also the other thing that's so important is to make sure that we have time to prioritize our self-care. So getting some workouts in, spending time with friends, having a little bit of downtime, all of those things are important too. So time blocking can help with all of that. So how does time blocking work? And if you wanted to start using time blocking within your schedule, how would you go about doing this? Well, first of all, what I recommend is start looking at your calendar a couple weeks from now. So in the future, because right now I'm sure you have too much going on. Things have already set. But what really time blocking helps with is really dedicating certain chunks of time to different activities that you have. So we want to look a couple weeks in advance where things are a little bit more open in order to put this whole strategy into place. And what we're going to do first is, number one, you want to create a list of all of the things that you have on your to-do list. So it could be doing the laundry. It could be, working, right? Working out, taking the kids places, all of those little things, cooking, all of the different things that you have on your to-do list. You want to write all of those down. And then the next couple things are really cool too. Is there anything, number two, is to see if there's anything on your list that you can delete. Is there anything that you're doing right now that you really don't need to be doing? So one example of this might be like I had a client that was really kind of overcommitted on her volunteer activities. And so she started paring that back a little bit just because she was just really overwhelmed with all of the things that she had on her plate. And she does have a lot on her plate. So this is one of the first things that we worked on was, streamlining a little bit and paring back her commitments. So she did delete some of her volunteer activities from her list. I mean, she still volunteers, but just not in like kind of the capacity that she was before. And then number three, is there anything on your list that you can delegate? So especially as moms, I think this is a great opportunity to revisit what your kids are doing around the house and if there's anything that they can help with. And the other things we could delegate would be using a grocery delivery service instead of going to the grocery store. Or maybe even, especially if you're a full-time working mom, sending the laundry to a fluff and fold instead of doing the laundry, right? Just a couple of things that might be a little bit easy to delegate to someone else. Or also asking your partner if there's some things that he or she could help with more around the house. Then number four, what we're going to do is color code all of the different buckets of things that we have. So like housework might get one color. Like for me, housework is blue. And then work stuff would get another color. So for me, that's red. And then stuff for my kids I have as dark purple. So if I have to take my kids somewhere, they have an activity, that stuff is in purple. And then number 5, we want to prioritize. So taking that list, taking all the things, hopefully we can cross some things off that got deleted or delegated. Then we're going to prioritize all of the things that we have left on our list. And then we're going to start scheduling those into different buckets on our calendar. And I personally like to use Google Calendar for this. And I set things on either like a weekly or every 2 weeks or once a month, whatever the case may be, on a recurring basis. So some examples, like I have meal prep and stuff like that in my schedule as well. So that happens on Sunday. I do my meal prep for the week, which includes creating a meal plan, going to the grocery store, and then prepping maybe some of the food. So I have those recurring regularly on my calendar so it doesn't fall off the radar. I also have now, this is something new that I started a few months ago, and I do need to be better about it, but I have it on my calendar with my husband so that I get a girls' night out twice a month. So I have that scheduled into my calendar. And then one other thing too, on kind of a similar note that I wanted to mention is what we want to include in this exercise, what are the things that really bring you joy in your life? You want to make sure that you're getting that in on a regular basis too, because that's really important to our mental health. And I think as moms, we feel really guilty taking time for ourselves, and taking care of other people is often, or really always, is our priority, right? But we have to reserve a little bit for ourselves as well. So, maybe once a month, or like one thing I've done is like trying to get a fun family vacation that's out in nature once a quarter. Because that's really important to me to kind of recharge my battery, like having those fun, really memorable experiences with the family, and being out in nature is really recharging to me. That was one thing I found out in going through this exercise myself. So we actually use that as the impetus for our family vacation to Jackson Hole this past summer. And then we're going to be in Colorado in the mountains for Thanksgiving this year too. And then I'm working on planning a ski trip too for probably in February timeframe right now too. So just kind of keeping those things that you have to look forward to on your schedule can be really helpful, just to kind of get through all the rest of the chaos that can be motherhood, right? So again, just to kind of and then then we get into having these buckets that are recurring. So let's say like Cece, I know you're on here now, and that you work in a sales job. So maybe you have certain buckets of time that you are either supporting clients, or if you need to do like marketing or anything like that, or business development, you can have different buckets for that, like each week. And then when you look at your to-dos, you can actually plug certain specific activities, like, I need to research and find, 5 new client prospects. Then that would go on top of that business development bucket that you've scheduled for yourself. So you're really a lot more thought out and intentional in the way that you're going to spend your time, and like what you're going to allocate more time to versus less, right? So we're being really thought out and intentional in how we're spending our time, which can just relieve so much stress for us, right? And then also, again, making sure that we're including some self-care in that as well. So again, just to recap, again, the way we do time blocking is we probably want to look a couple weeks in the future, and then we're going to, number 1, create that list of all of our things. And then number 2, see if there's anything we can actually delete off the list that we don't need to be doing. Number 3, see if there's anything that we can delegate to someone else on our list. And then number 4, color code. So create different codes so when you look at your calendar, it's very clear to you what different buckets talk about. So like housework could be one, work stuff could be another, kids stuff could be another color, self-care would be another color. And then we want to take that list of what remains after we've deleted and delegate. Number 5 is to prioritize everything that's left on our list. So make sure we're getting the most important things done. And then number 6, to create that schedule. And again, I personally like to use Google Calendar because you can do lots of different recurrences and that type of thing. It makes it really easy to kind of automate your schedule. And then given the example that I gave to Cece about different work activities, you can then, with that block of time that you have, plug your specific things that you're working on for that week on top of that block where you've already set aside that time for that activity, so that you're really thought out in how you're spending your time and making progress on all of the things that are important to you. So I hope that sharing this little thing about time blocking can be really helpful and impactful for you. And I will mention too, it will probably take you'll have to schedule a time for this and maybe sit down for an hour or even 2. It might take that long to kind of get everything figured out. But I promise you, it will pay back in tenfold that time investment, because you'll have a lot more control over your schedule and can really, again, help with managing the overwhelm. So if you guys try this and you have questions, please post it in the comments or just within the group here in the Vital Mom community. If you do it, I'd love to see your completed calendar and what it looks like. So take a screenshot and post that too. So I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any other topics that you'd like me to cover, here in the Vital Mom community, we are about the intersection of positive mindset, functional nutrition, and fitness. So if there's anything within there that you would love for me to cover on one of my Facebook Lives, I would love to address whatever it is that you need help with or you're interested in learning more about. So do let me know, and let me know if this was helpful too. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and happy time blocking. Take care. Bye, guys.